After my baby was born premature, I messaged the group, "We're in the NICU, please pray." My aunt replied with vacation photos from Hawaii. Nobody visited. A month later, still in the hospital cafeteria, I opened my phone to 84 missed calls, and my brother's message, "Answer. This is bad." I did. And then, I remember the exact moment the NICU nurse told me I could touch my daughter for the first time. It had been 5 days since she was born. 5 days of alarms, tubes, and watching her tiny chest rise and fall behind a layer of glass. 2 pounds, 4 ounces. Skin so translucent I could see her veins. I wasn't prepared for that. No one ever is. You think you'll give birth and hold your baby right away, cry, take pictures, text the family. Instead, I sat in silence next to machines I didn't understand, trying to keep my breathing quiet so I wouldn't disturb anything. And I was alone. Not metaphorically. Physically alone. No one had shown up. Not a single person. It didn't hit me all at once. At first I thought they were just waiting for the right time. Maybe they were giving me space. Maybe they were on their way. But I had sent the message. I typed it clearly, "We're in the NICU. Please pray." Simple. Honest. Desperate in a quiet way. I stared at the screen after I hit send, expecting it to light up with love. One person replied. Aunt Brenda. 3 pictures from Hawaii. Her feet in the sand, a piña colada in her hand, and a shot of the sunset captioned "Best view ever." That was it. No words about the baby. No questions. No concern. Just vacation photos and hashtags. I didn't say anything. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the phone. But I couldn't. My daughter was fighting to breathe and I had to stay calm. I was her anchor. She didn't need a meltdown. She needed me steady. The worst part was knowing this wasn't just a one-time lapse. No one else in the family followed up. Not my brother, who I once drove 5 hours to bail out of a breakup and a lease. Not my cousin Liz, who cried on my couch for weeks when she lost her job and then let me pay her rent more than once. Not Brenda's daughter, who I literally hosted in my guest room for a semester while she found herself. Days passed. Then weeks. I stayed at the hospital almost full-time. My husband was in Oregon, trying to wrap up a work contract that couldn't be broken without financial penalties. He felt helpless. I told him not to worry, that I was okay. But I wasn't. I was eating cafeteria food, showering in the hospital family center, changing clothes out of a duffel bag, watching my baby through glass. She had a name. Riley. Nobody even asked what we named her. On day 31, I was sitting in my usual corner of the cafeteria holding a cold cup of coffee, scrolling through pictures of Riley in my phone. The nurses had helped me take a few. She looked stronger. A little bigger. Still hooked up to wires, but I could see her spirit now. Something had shifted. There was hope. That's when I saw it. My phone lit up. 84 missed calls. I froze. I didn't even hear it vibrate before, didn't feel it ringing. Just a silent notification screen glowing up at me like it knew something I didn't. Most of the calls were from my brother. The last text from him said, "This is bad." And just like that, I knew something was coming. Something big. But for the first time in a long while, I didn't panic. I didn't cry. I just set the coffee down, took one deep breath and called him back. Because if it was finally time for a family emergency, they were about to find out what being alone really felt like. The phone barely rang before my brother picked up. His voice was loud, rushed, shaky, like he'd been running. I heard traffic, someone talking in the background, a car door slamming. He didn't ask how I was. He didn't ask about Riley. Just blurted it out. Dad collapsed. In the driveway. It happened an hour ago. No warning, just dropped while pulling the trash bins back after collection. The neighbor saw it, called 911, tried CPR. My brother got to the hospital just as they were wheeling Dad into emergency surgery. Brain bleed. They weren't sure if he was going to make it. I didn't say anything at first. I looked out the cafeteria window at the same sidewalk I watched every morning. I asked who was with him. He said Mom, Brenda, and a few cousins had rushed over. Even Liz was there. Right. Of course. Everyone could make it when he was in the hospital. Then he said the part one knew was coming. You need to come. Mom's falling apart. We need you. Not how's your daughter. Not are you okay? Just we need you. I reminded him I had been in this hospital for 31 days. That my baby weighed 2 pounds when she was born. That I was here alone, eating from vending machines and sleeping in a folding chair, while they all went on with their lives like nothing had happened. I asked if he even remembered the message I sent to the family group chat. He didn't answer that. Said things had been busy. Said Brenda had just gotten back from Hawaii. Said they thought I didn't want visitors, didn't want to be overwhelmed. I almost laughed. As if silence wasn't more overwhelming than anything. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just said I wasn't leaving Riley. Not now, not for this. I wished Dad the best and I meant it. But they would have to figure this one out without me. Then I hung up. He called back within seconds. I let it go to voicemail. He texted next. A wall of messages. Some begging. Some guilt-tripping. Some just rambling. I sat there reading each one, then slowly started deleting them. One by one. It wasn't rage I felt. Not even betrayal anymore. Just a cold, sharp certainty. For years I had held this family up. I was the go-to fixer, the peacemaker, the one they leaned on when things went sideways. I paid for things without being asked. I remembered birthdays they forgot. I never once said no when someone needed help. But they left me alone when my daughter was on life support. They left me to sit beside an incubator day and night without asking how I was surviving it. So that was it. I turned off the ringer, slid my phone back into my pocket and walked upstairs. Riley was asleep, her arms slightly spread out like she was floating. Her heart rate was steady. She was breathing without the CPAP for the first time. The nurse told me we'd probably be trying bottle feeds soon. I stood there looking down at her and felt it settle inside me. I didn't owe anyone anything anymore. They could beg, call, cry. It wouldn't matter. Whatever storm was coming for them next, they'd have to face it without me. Because I wasn't their safety net anymore. I was my daughter's mother. And I was done saving people who wouldn't even show up when it mattered. The next 2 days felt like being underwater. Still muted, heavy. My phone didn't ring. No one texted. Not about Dad. Not about anything. After that flood of missed calls and messages, it was like someone flipped a switch and cut the wires. It was almost impressive how fast they could disappear again when they didn't get what they wanted. I didn't reach out either. Not to ask if Dad made it through surgery. Not to check if Mom was okay. I sat in the NICU just like I had for a month, watching Riley sleep in her little nest of blankets and wires, watching monitors blink and hum. And I waited. I gave them a chance to show me they meant it. To ask about her. About me. Nobody did. Instead, Riley gained 4 ounces. That's what mattered. We were finally weaning her off the oxygen. She opened her eyes longer. Wrapped her whole hand around my pinky. Every time I saw her fight, I felt stronger. Calmer. Sharper. Then 2.5 days later, Brenda showed up. I heard about it from one of the nurses. She didn't call ahead, didn't text. Just walked in with sunglasses still on, holding a small shopping bag like she was dropping off a housewarming gift. She didn't ask to see Riley. She didn't ask where I was. Just left some overpriced cookies with the nurse, smiled and left. That was her big gesture. Later that day, my brother texted again. So you're just cutting everyone off now? After everything we've done for you? I stared at the message for a long time. I thought about the hours I spent helping him rewrite his resume when he lost his job. The loan I gave him when his car broke down. The tuition payments. The grocery deliveries when his wife was sick. And never once did I throw it back at him. Never made him feel small for needing help. I texted back. You left me alone when my daughter was fighting to live. I'm just doing what you taught me. Then I blocked him. And something inside me clicked into place. That night, after Riley fell asleep, I logged into the tuition account I had set up for my nephew. Canceled the automatic payments. Cleared the linked card. I didn't warn anyone. I didn't leave a note. Let the invoices roll in. Let the school call him. I opened another app and stopped the monthly rent assistance I had been sending Liz since March. She never asked me directly, just hinted about her struggles and I stepped in. Not anymore. The next morning Liz messaged me. Hey, did the payment not go through? Just checking, rent's due soon. I didn't answer. 2 hours later, Brenda sent me a photo of some flowers in a vase with a caption thinking of you and the baby. Followed by a heart and a sun emoji. I deleted it without reading the rest. By the end of the day, 3 unknown numbers had called me. Likely cousins I hadn't heard from in months, suddenly remembering I existed. I didn't pick up. I already knew what they wanted. When people realize the person they leaned on has stepped away, they don't reflect. They scramble. They talk. They twist the story. They try to fix it not because they care but because the support they thought was endless is suddenly gone. It makes them panic. Not because they miss you, but because they miss the version of you who always said yes. But that version of me disappeared the day I sat alone in that NICU with Riley and read my aunt's vacation caption instead of a message saying we're here. We love you. We've got you. They made a decision that day. I just followed their lead. And now, as they scrambled, I focused on what actually mattered. Riley's breathing on her own. She gained another 2 ounces. The nurse let me hold her for a full hour. And for the first time in a long time, the weight I'd been carrying, their weight, started to fall off my shoulders. Piece by piece. The hospital was starting to feel like a second home. I knew which vending machines always got stuck, which nurses liked jazz, and which ones gave the best updates without sugarcoating anything. Riley was gaining weight fast. Her tiny fingers gripped mine longer each day, and the doctors had started talking about her release in a few weeks. There were still plenty of hurdles ahead, but we were finally in a rhythm. One that didn't include my family. Then, out of nowhere, my phone buzzed with a message that made me pause. It was from my grandfather. Not a heart emoji. Not a forwarded prayer chain. Just, call me tonight. Alone. I hadn't spoken to him in months. He was never the type to get involved in petty arguments or family drama. He was quiet, old school, but everyone respected him. When he did speak, people listened. Always had. I called him that night after Riley fell asleep and stepped outside to a bench near the ER entrance. He answered immediately. No small talk. He said he knew about everything. He knew no one had visited, that Brenda went on vacation, that my brother was now calling everyone in the family complaining I had turned cold. He said he'd seen the group chat messages. I didn't ask how. I didn't care. Then he said something I didn't expect. He was rewriting his will. He didn't even try to soften it. Just told me plainly that he was sick of the way everyone had been behaving, circling around him pretending to care, angling for inheritance, giving nothing back. He said he'd been watching it for years, but this, what they did to me and Riley, this was the line. He told me he'd already met with his attorney. He was leaving the house, the Vermont property, the investments, everything, to Riley. Not to me, to her. Because she, he said, was the only innocent one left in the family. The only one who deserved a clean start. I sat there silent, blinking at the streetlight above the bench. I told him I didn't expect anything. I wasn't doing any of this for money. He said he knew that. That's why it was going to her. And then, like he was reading my thoughts, he said, they think you need them. But you were the only one keeping this family together. The moment you stopped carrying them, everything started to collapse. We didn't say much after that. Just a quiet goodbye. The next morning, I woke up to chaos in the group chat. Screenshots. A blurry photo of a typed legal document. Liz asking if it was a joke. Brenda freaking out in all caps. My brother sending question marks. No one mentioned Riley. No one asked how we were. It was all about money, property, what's fair, and what did she say to him. Apparently, my grandfather had called a family meeting at his house without saying why. Everyone showed up, probably thinking he was going to announce something about downsizing or giving out early gifts. Instead, he handed out folders with the new will inside, then got up and left the room. He didn't explain it. He didn't ask for feedback. He just made it final. Brenda was livid. Liz sent a passive-aggressive message about honoring family tradition. My brother tried to FaceTime me twice. I didn't answer. Instead, I sat with Riley in the NICU chair, holding her close while she napped against my chest. Her little heart monitor beeped steady and slow. I could feel her warmth, the weight of her finally starting to feel real in my arms. The real weight I was carrying wasn't financial. It wasn't about inheritance. It was this, the quiet, exhausting burden of being the one who showed up over and over again while everyone else took. Now the weight had shifted. The family didn't understand yet. They thought this was about money, that I had somehow turned our grandfather against them. But this wasn't revenge. This was the cost of their choices. And it wasn't over yet, because I hadn't even told them the second part, what I was planning next. I waited 3 more days before saying anything. Let the messages pile up. Let the panic settle in. My brother sent another dozen texts. Some angry, some pretending to be calm like he was trying to reason with me. Brenda switched tactics and sent me a voice memo about how family needs to stick together, especially for Riley's sake. Liz asked if we could talk, just us girls, which was laughable considering she hadn't said a word when I was alone in the NICU with a premature baby fighting to breathe. What none of them realized was that while they were arguing over a will, I was busy planning something else entirely. Riley was doing better, stronger every day, and I had been talking to the hospital's social worker, quietly gathering the paperwork for something they never thought I'd actually do. I was moving. Not across town. Across the country. A job had opened up at the Children's Hospital in Colorado where my husband had just been offered a permanent role. The position was part-time, flexible, and came with a relocation package. And best of all, a spot in their NICU follow-up program for Riley, which meant we'd get ongoing care from specialists who already knew how to handle babies like her. I didn't tell anyone except my husband and the nurse who had been with me since day one. I didn't owe anyone else that information. 2 days before our flight, I finally responded to the group chat. Not with words. Just a photo. Riley in a new onesie, asleep in her car seat. And behind her 2 suitcases packed and zipped. Brenda responded first. Where are you going? Liz followed. Wait, what is this? Are you moving? My brother's message came in last. You're seriously doing this? After everything? After everything. As if I was the one who disappeared. As if I was the one who had left someone else behind in a hospital bed. I didn't respond. The next day, the hospital room was cleared. Riley was discharged and we were on a plane. Just me, my husband, and our daughter. I held her the entire flight. I didn't cry. I didn't look back. That night, in the hotel near our new apartment, my husband opened his phone, scrolled through the messages from my family and asked if I wanted to block them. I said not yet, because I wanted them to see what life looked like without me. And they did. Over the next few weeks, I started posting just a few quiet pictures on social media. Riley's first nap in her new crib. Her checkup at the new hospital. A video of her smiling at the ceiling fan like it was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. The comments started pouring in. Not from them, they stayed silent watching. But I could see it. The views. The profile visits. The quiet surveillance of people who were slowly realizing they weren't part of the story anymore. And then it happened. A letter arrived. Handwritten. From my grandfather. He said he was proud of me. Said he hadn't told the others yet, but he'd made another change. The trust was being divided early, not just in the will. Riley's portion would be transferred into an education fund, available only to her. No co-signers. No family members could touch it. He wrote, "They took your kindness for granted. Now they'll see what happens when that kindness goes somewhere else." I read it twice, then folded it and slipped it into Riley's baby box, right next to the photo of her in that NICU incubator. The family didn't fall apart immediately, but piece by piece things started slipping. Was posted about needing help with rent. Brenda hinted at selling her condo. My brother's kid was pulled out of school mid-semester. I didn't celebrate any of it. I didn't even respond. Because the truth was I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. It started slow. A few likes on old Instagram photos. Some vague comments on Riley's updates. Nothing direct, just enough to test the waters. I didn't reply. I let the silence speak. But then about 6 weeks after we moved, Liz cracked first. She emailed me. A full 5 paragraphs, most of which danced around the word sorry, like it was a minefield. She wrote about how hard things have been, and how nobody really knew how serious it all was. She said she'd been thinking about Riley and hoped, one day they could reconnect as a family. At the end she added, "I'd love to get to know her. I think she deserves to know her roots." Roots. She didn't mean history. She meant access. She meant proximity. To Riley. To the money. To the life she could see from the outside looking in. I didn't answer. A week later a box arrived at my door. No return label. But I recognized the handwriting on the card before I even opened it. Brenda. Inside were baby clothes, all too big, and a teddy bear with a gold ribbon that still smelled faintly of perfume. The card read, "For my little princess, with love from your great aunt Brenda. Let's let the past go." I put the bear back in the box, resealed it, and set it in the hallway closet. Then my brother. He didn't send a message. He didn't write. He showed up. I got the notification from my doorbell camera while I was cleaning bottles. He was just standing there, hands in his jacket pockets, staring up at the door like he couldn't believe it was real. I hesitated. I thought about ignoring it. But something in me wanted to see what he'd say, face to face. I opened the door. He looked rough. Not unhealthy, just worn down. Like someone who had run out of excuses. He said, "I was passing through," even though we both knew he wasn't. I didn't say anything. Then came, "I just wanted to see you." So I waited. He finally said what he came to say, "We miss you." I let that sit in the air between us for a long second. Then I told him, "You don't miss me. You miss the version of me that paid your bills, picked up the pieces, and kept everything from falling apart." He didn't deny it. Just looked down. Then he said, "Mom's been asking about you." He's confused. She thinks this is all a misunderstanding. I asked if she was confused when Riley was in the NICU and nobody showed up. He didn't answer that either. He looked at me like he wanted to say something else. Maybe beg. Maybe lash out. But he didn't. He nodded once and turned around. I closed the door and locked it behind him. That night, I sat in the nursery while Riley slept on my chest, feeling the soft rhythm of her breath. The glow of her nightlight filled the room, and I felt something I hadn't in months. Peace. They could try every angle. Guilt, nostalgia, fake warmth. It didn't matter. Because I'd finally figured it out. Love isn't proven in emergencies. It's proven in the quiet days after, when there's no drama left to solve and no audience to impress. It's in who shows up. And who disappears. My family showed me who they were when they didn't show up at all. So I stopped waiting. I started building a new circle. Quiet friends who brought soup without asking. A neighbor who helped carry groceries up the stairs. A coworker of my husband's wife who dropped off preemie clothes that actually fit. These people had no obligation. No hidden expectations. And somehow they showed more love than the ones I shared blood with. Months passed. Riley kept growing. Her cheeks got round. Her laugh came easily. The doctors said she was thriving. And she was. One morning, I woke up to a voicemail from my grandfather. He said, "They still don't get it. But that's not your burden anymore." He sounded tired but content. Like he had made his decision and he was at peace with it. That same week, my husband and I took Riley to a mountain cabin for the weekend. We left our phones in a drawer. I watched the sun rise over snow-covered peaks with my daughter bundled against my chest, and I realized something. They will always want back in. They will always test the boundary. But I will always remember the silence in that NICU room. the one filled not by strangers, but by the absence of people who should have been there. And I will never forget what that taught me. Not every family deserves a second chance. Some just deserve a closed door.